If you try to read the Bible from page 1 to the end without understanding this single concept, you are almost guaranteed to get lost. Most people see the Bible as a collection of 66 disjointed books, a story about a flood here, a giant slayer there, and a baby in a manger somewhere later. But what if I told you that there is a hidden skeletal structure that holds the entire Bible together? It's called a covenant. God didn't just give random rules. Throughout history, He mapped out His relationship with humanity through specific, binding agreements, 7 of them to be exact. If you miss these, you miss the point of everything. But if you can see them, suddenly the confusing laws in Leviticus, the poetry of David, and the death of Jesus all align into one perfect master plan. Today, we are going to map every covenant God ever made on a single timeline. By the time we reach the end of this video, you will see the Bible and your place in it differently forever. Let's start at the very beginning. Before we drop the first pin on our timeline, we need to define what a covenant actually is. In our modern world, we think of contracts. I sign, you sign. If I break it, you sue me. It's transactional. But the Hebrew word berith means something much deeper. It's a bond in blood, typically sovereignly administered. It's not, I'll do this if you do that. It is God saying, I am binding myself to you. Covenant number 1, the Edenic covenant. This is the covenant of innocence found in Genesis 1 and 2. God creates Adam and Eve, places them in a perfect environment, and gives them a mandate. Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it. The terms were simple. Enjoy everything. Walk with God. Just one restriction. Do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We all know what happened next. They broke the agreement. In a contract, this is where the deal ends and the punishment begins. And yes, punishment did come. But surprisingly, so did the next covenant. Covenant number 2, the Adamic covenant, found in Genesis 3. This outlines the consequences of sin: pain in childbirth, toil in work, and physical death. It sounds like a curse, and it is. But hidden inside this judgment is the most important promise in human history, the proto-evangelium. God speaks to the serpent and says that the seed of the woman will crush the serpent's head. This is the first pin on our map that points to the future. God promised a savior the moment man fell. The timeline has officially begun its march toward redemption. Centuries pass. Humanity gets worse, not better. Violence fills the earth. God hits the reset button with the great flood. But God preserves one family, Noah. Covenant number 3, the Noahic covenant. After the floodwaters recede in Genesis 9, God makes a promise not just to Noah, but to all creation. He promises never to destroy the earth by water again. He establishes the cycles of seasons, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter. Why does this matter? Because this is a covenant of preservation. Think about it. God has a plan to send a savior, right? He can't send a savior if he keeps wiping out the planet every time we sin. The rainbow isn't just a pretty natural phenomenon. It's God's signature on a stability treaty, ensuring the stage remains standing so the play can continue. Now we reach the bedrock. If the Bible were a building, this covenant is the foundation. Covenant number 4, the Abrahamic covenant. In Genesis 12, God calls a moon worshiper named Abram and makes him 3 massive promises. First, a specific promised land. Second, a great nation with descendants as numerous as the stars. And third, a blessing, that through him, all families of the earth will be blessed. But here's the detail most people miss. In the ancient world, when you made a covenant, you cut animals in half and walked between the pieces. You were saying, may I be torn apart like these animals if I break my word. In Genesis 15, Abram falls into a deep sleep. Only God passes through the pieces. Abram stays asleep. Do you see the significance? God signed this deal alone. It relies 100% on God's faithfulness, not Abraham's performance. Israel will fail. Abram will lie. But God cannot break this covenant. The promise of the land, the nation, and the blessing is secured by the very existence of God. This covenant is the engine that drives the rest of the Old Testament. Fast forward 400 years. Abraham's family is now a nation, but they are slaves in Egypt. God delivers them and brings them to Mount Sinai. Here we get covenant number 5, the Mosaic covenant. This one is different. It is conditional. If you obey my voice, then you shall be a special treasure to me. This covenant contains 613 commandments. It covered everything: worship, diet, civil law, and morality. Why? Why add rules if God already promised blessings to Abraham? The Apostle Paul tells us in the New Testament, the law was a tutor, it was a mirror. It was designed to show Israel and us that we are sinners. It proved that we cannot be holy on our own. It created a desperate need for a Savior. Now Israel is in the land. They have kings, but kings die, kingdoms fall. God comes to King David in 2 Samuel 7 and makes covenant number 6, the Davidic covenant. He promises David that his offspring will sit on the throne forever. Wait, forever? How can a human king rule forever? Unless that king is more than human. Do you see the picture forming? From Adam, we know the Savior is a human. From Abraham, we know he is a Jew. From David, we know he is a king. And from Moses, we know we are sinners who desperately need him. The stage is set. The tension is at its peak. And then, 400 years of silence. The old covenants created a tension that they couldn't resolve. Humanity kept breaking the law. The kings kept failing. The sacrifices of bulls and goats had to be repeated year after year. Then, on a quiet night in an upper room, Jesus holds up a cup of wine and says the words that change the universe. This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Covenant number 7, the new covenant. Jeremiah prophesied it. Ezekiel saw it coming, but Jesus enacted it. Under this covenant, the law is internal, written on our hearts, not on stone tablets. Forgiveness is total. Their sins I will remember no more. And access is open. The veil is torn. We don't need a high priest to enter God's presence. We have Jesus. This is the climax of the timeline. The new covenant fulfills the Abrahamic promise of blessing. It fulfills the Davidic promise of an eternal king. And it answers the problem of the Mosaic law by paying the penalty for our disobedience. So look at the timeline now. It's not a mess, it's a masterpiece. God didn't abandon history, He orchestrated it. From the garden to the flood, from the desert to the throne room, and finally to the cross, every step was a calculated move to bring you back to Him. We are no longer living under the fear of the Mosaic law. We're living in the age of the new covenant, an age of grace, empowered by the Spirit, awaiting the final fulfillment when the King returns. Understanding these covenants is the key to unlocking the Bible. Without them, you're just reading stories. With them, you're reading a blueprint of redemption. Which of these covenants do you find most fascinating? Or which one is the hardest to understand? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Keep seeking.